Ngā mihi and welcome to this edition of Eyewitness for Radio New Zealand International, ko Lisa Thompson tēnei. At Eden Park, Auckland, on 28th of March 1955, New Zealand cricket experienced its darkest day when its 11 batsmen could muster only 26 runs against England. This total is still a record test low. Join me as I talk to one of New Zealand's greatest all-round cricketers, John Reid, about playing on that day and how the team turned itself around the following year.
We knew they were a good side, obviously, and they'd had a good tour of Australia, and we knew they were top-rated players. Len Hutton and co. Len Hutton was the captain on one occasion. Well, most Peter May was the captain on the other occasion, and Colin Cowdrey came over and played. In those days, there were some really good cricketers, and we just had to. Mind you, we played top-rated players all the time, so we get used to coming second, probably. But you've got to do as well as you can, and you just try. You just try as well as you can. But I didn't think we'd get bowled out for 26. Can I whisper that?
Now for this dreadful second innings. Sutcliffe bowled Wardle 11. Leggett caught Hutton, bowled Tyson for 1. Poor bowled Tyson 0. Reid bowled Statham 1. McGregor caught May, bowled Appleyard 1. Rayburn LBW bowled Statham 7. Cave caught Graveney, bowled Appleyard 5. McGibbon LBW bowled Appleyard 0. Cahoon caught Graveney, bowled Appleyard 0. Moyer not out 0. And Hayes bowled Statham for no score. So there it is, total 26. There were no extras. I believe that this is, in fact, the lowest total for which an overseas side has ever dismissed this country in a test match. And so on this scene of drama and excitement, with England winning the second test match against New Zealand at Eden Park, Auckland, by an innings and 20 runs, we return you now to the studio.
On the day, what was the reaction of the team coming off the pitch?
Depressed, like you wouldn't believe, because we were better. We knew we were better than that. Bert Sucker was the only one that got any runs. I sort of remember that, but I don't remember much else, and I don't want to remember much else either.
It all went by in a bit of a blur.
It did, yeah, it did.
Well, I understand there was a gentleman off the back of the first innings thought, oh, this is game on, bought a ticket, was going to get himself to Auckland, and he arrived to find it was game over.
Yeah. I'm sorry for that, Mr. whatever his name is. I beg your pardon.
What was the reaction wider? What was the reaction amongst the New Zealand cricketing fraternity and also amongst the public?
It was a little bit to be expected, because we weren't world beaters or anything like that, and the public didn't give us a hard time, but it was something that to be expected, I suppose.
While the New Zealand public weren't too surprised at the loss, the international cricketing media were less kind, as this commentary from former English fast bowler Bill Bowes demonstrates.
Hello everybody. Today, in this, my last talk of this particular series about cricket, I want to deal with impressions I have got from the opponents of the England team. To be a little more specific about the failings of the New Zealand cricketers. The bowlers have learnt to use their fieldsmen well, stopping runs. And the fielding is one of the best departments of New Zealand cricket. But if you're batting, especially after the second innings at Auckland, what can I say to be kind? Your batsmen have not the elementary faults of the Australians, but, my word, they do lack experience.
We weren't professionals, you see. There was no such thing as a professional in those days. And when you look back on what's happened today as far as money's concerned and things like that, we went away for 8 months, no money, no nothing. You had tour expenses, but no money at all. I mean, you didn't pay for much, but you had to have some money somewhere.
So once you hung up your hat, you went back to work?
That's right, yeah. I was a slipper designer, whatever that is.
You tell me.
I used to play around with designs on paper and fold up bits and pieces to make slippers. And I made them right. Well, I didn't make them, but I designed them.
Fantastic. Fantastic. You must get a kick out of thinking other people wore your designs.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I'll think about that.
Oh, gosh. Well, did you have a coach at that time? You wouldn't have had a coach.
No. We had a manager who sometimes had something to do with cricket, but quite often didn't. And that particular was Jack Kerr, who did have a lot to do with cricket, who played for New Zealand.
So the captain was the person who led by example and kept your team running and together. And
I did that all the time I was around.
Yes.
I had managers that were good and bad, so I had to cope with that.
But you did pick yourselves up. You did get yourselves back on track.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
because the following year, there was a momentous match against the West Indies back in Auckland.
Exactly.
It was a fourth test. Tell me about that test.
Well, we played 4 tests, and we got badly beaten in the first 3. But we were lucky in the fact that Everton Weekes was a great batsman, and he scored hundreds in the other matches. And on this particular occasion in Auckland, we beat them quite easily, actually. There was a lot of runs on our side. But the big thing is we got Everton Weekes out. Caught its first slip the first time and caught on the boundary the second time.
Brilliant.
So that was good. Yeah, Noel McGregor caught it off Jack Alabaster. Jack Alabaster bowled a long hop. He won't like me saying that, but he did.
But it did the trick.
It did the trick.
It did the trick.
He didn't hit it for 6. He hit it towards Noel McGregor, and Noel McGregor took a catch on the boundary.
So you got your marked man.
That's right, and that's the. Okay, there were other batsmen in the side, but Garfield Sobers and all those guys, but they were youngsters. Mind you, we were all youngsters. But in that side, they had Ramadan and Valentine. It wasn't a Mickey Mouse side, so no, we had pretty good performance indeed.
At Eden Park, Auckland, this afternoon, when the match ended, the victorious skipper, John Reid of New Zealand, had this to say.
Needless to say, I'm very pleased indeed, in fact thrilled, that the New Zealand team have at last won a test. It wasn't particularly to my captaincy, but I would like to congratulate my 2 bowlers, Harry Cave and...
3 cheers for John Reid, you can hear down below.
Thank you.
We'll get over to you in a minute. There's so many cheers going on down below, it's impossible to hear. Go on, John.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Were there great celebrations?
Oh, yeah. Well, as I say, I didn't drink at all until later on, but I had a glass of wine then, I think. Well, I know I did. And I made a speech eventually, so just congratulating the team and thanking the opposition, because they were a good team, and they were good sportsmen as well. Had a good captain. And
well, it must have been magic being part of that team, to have that under your belt.
Very much so, very, very much so. And we started our climb up the ladder, and which we're doing at the moment, which I'm very pleased to see and hear. The guys are going well.
Because I've got here, you captained the test and you did lead by example, because you scored in the first innings 84 runs. How do you think the team had improved from the year before? What were the differences?
We didn't have too many changes in the personnel of the team, but they're in form and out of form, and I think that was better. They were performing pretty well, or better than they were before. And I think it's form, because we couldn't pick too many players. There weren't too many around with abilities. So you
had a small pool to pick from.
That's right.
And they had to be on.
They had to be there. Yeah.
In form. And
that's right.
What did the New Zealand win do then for Test cricket for us in this country?
Certainly gave everybody confidence in the players and in New Zealand. Because we weren't too good at winning, but we did win a few games, and we're getting better and better. And of course, later on in the 70s, we reached pretty high up with Hadley and co. Martin Crowe coming to the fore, not 70s, in the 80s.
In the 80s.
But Martin Crowe and Richard Hadley and co, all the guys, they had 7 or 8 players, I think, that have played overseas at that stage, professionals. They managed to get some money, which helped, which helped a bit. Would have helped me at some stage.
You did it without it.
Yes, I
and
did.
then you went on and you had a very successful tour, as you alluded to before, of South Africa.
Very much
And
so.
that really cemented this test side, didn't it?
Very much so. Actually, let's get down to tin tacks.
Yes.
I won the first 3 test matches
Brilliant.
as a captain for New Zealand. Yeah. I'll say that a bit louder because I've got in this room up there's a scoreboard. It shows that New Zealand haven't been beaten in 5 test matches in South Africa since that game.
Congratulations.
I've got to remind everybody about that because they don't know that. They don't play 5 tests anymore.
Very proud.
Very much so. Very much so.
In total, John Reid played 58 tests for New Zealand, 34 as captain. He scored 3,428 test runs at an average of just over 33. He scored 6 test centuries with a highest score of 142 and took 85 wickets, largely bowling right-arm fast-medium. In 1963, he set a then world record for the most sixes in an innings, 15, while smashing 296 for Wellington against Northern Districts at the Basin Reserve. He retired from international cricket in 1965, holding New Zealand Test records for the most runs, wickets and catches. A true all-rounder of the game. So it's only fitting that his study at his home on Auckland's North Shore is packed with trophies and mementos, all great reminders of a wonderful sporting career.
Yes, I've got photographs on the wall here, which remind me of times that I have made my own, which I remember. And there's only a few photographs up there because there's not room. They're all in the cupboard. But the 2 honours I've got from the Queen, which is a great thrill. 50 years between the 2, OBE in 1962, and a companion honour 2014. So that's a long time between those situations, yeah.
But it's testament, though, to your great cricketing career.
Still around.
That was John Richard Reid ending this Eyewitness from Radio New Zealand National. If you'd like to learn more about John's cricketing career and see some photos, please head to our website radionz.co.nz and put Eyewitness in the search box. Thanks for listening. I'm Lisa Thompson.